you must immediately uninstall the product and destroy all copies of the product in your possession. Video game companies now have the right to tell you to break your things. I'm not even exaggerating. This is not a clickbait headline. If you read the fine print inside of the games you own, it literally says, we have the right to tell you when to destroy this product.
What did he say?
This feels like some weird dystopian future, like something out of a video game sci-fi horror book. I don't know what's going on anymore. But if you read the updated EULA from Ubisoft, it literally says as follows: the EULA will terminate automatically if you fail to comply with any of the terms and conditions of this EULA. The terms and conditions of this EULA are as follows. You and Ubisoft may terminate this EULA at any time for any reason. That means they don't need an explanation. Termination by Ubisoft will be effective upon notice to you or termination of your Ubisoft account, which translates to when we decide the game is done and tell you the game is done and you no longer own it. Now they want termination of your Ubisoft account at the time of Ubisoft's decision to discontinue offering and or supporting the product, which translates to when we decide we don't want to support the game anymore, the game is done. When we decide the game is done, you no longer own that game if we say so. And if you read at the very end, you must immediately uninstall the product and destroy all copies of the product in your possession. Excuse me? Let me say that one more time because I don't think people are understanding this. You must immediately uninstall the product and destroy all copies of the product in your possession. That means by law, they are saying that they can tell you that the video game you own that's installed on your hard drive, on your console, sitting in your living room right now, they have the right to tell you you no longer own that, even if you paid for it. And not only that, because that's common news at this point with digital games, but now they can tell you you have to uninstall it or you're literally breaking the law. And not only that, if you have a physical copy, you must destroy it. What kind of weird supervillain shit is that? You want me to destroy my physical copies of my game because you decided that they're done and you don't want to support them anymore? I get that they're going to become a paperweight anyway. Something like Anthem, which I paid a lot of money for, becomes literally a fucking coaster by the time I'm done and by the time you're done. That's what happens. They take the game offline. It doesn't matter if I put that disc in my fucking PlayStation. You know what happens? It does a check online. That check says this game is done. The game no longer works. And then I guess by law, I'm supposed to take that CD and what? Snap it in half? What is going on? How are we being accepting of this? Digital games can be revoked, pulled, or patched out of existence. Even physical discs often require online activation or constant server checks. Compared to the past, NES or PS2, PS3 even, once you bought a game, it was yours forever. End user license agreements override consumer rights. DRM, which is digital rights management, keeps control with the publisher, not the buyer. Steam, Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo all reserve the rights to revoke access.
You shall not pass!
You don't own games anymore. You own a temporary license until the company feels like taking it back. Preservation is impossible when games require online connections to function. You can't archive, you can't replay, you can't revisit. It's like they never existed. These aren't obscure indies. These are AAA big budget games you bought recently. My two biggest gripes recently being Anthem, which was a huge budget game marketed by BioWare and EA, sold at a full AAA price, promised years of support and updates. That game was abandoned as fast as it started. Physical discs, those are worthless. No. Doesn't matter if I have my fucking copy of Anthem anymore. Nothing's going to happen when I put the disc in as of the end of 2026. Okay, maybe it wasn't the greatest game. Maybe going online and playing that game wasn't the best experience, but I had a good time. And regardless what you think, I don't care. I paid full price for it. I should be able to go and play that single player campaign whenever I so choose. Now we move on to Marvel's Avengers, another game that was maybe ruined by live service, but you know, it was an eventual good game. When you played just the single player campaign after the patches and everything, that was a pretty good experience, especially if you were a fan of something like Avengers or superheroes. Maybe the live service stuff wasn't done well, and maybe if they wouldn't have done that and just focused on the single player, that would have been an even better game. But that's neither here nor there. It doesn't matter. I paid full price for that game. You shouldn't get to choose what happens to that game. If it has a single player campaign and it belongs to me, when I put that physical disc in, it should just work. Now it's going to do some kind of weird online check and my physical copy isn't going to even work anymore, even though it has a single player campaign. These games are basically becoming online storefronts, not games. A lot of these games are just out there to sell you microtransactions. So when the game stops selling microtransactions, or when those sales start drying up, the game or the store shuts down. There's no point keeping it open, which means there's no point keeping the game running because it was just a store designed to sell microtransactions in the first place. So just like you'd see a store close down when it had no more sales, or if it couldn't make sales, you'd see a foreclosed sign or closing soon sign. That's the same thing with the games. You see, why we're shutting it down. We're shutting the servers down. It's the exact same thing, closing soon because there's no more sales. They're not getting microtransactions. They're not making enough money. And okay, that's understandable. I don't expect you to keep a game running forever, but there should be some kind of exit strategy here or some kind of contract between the player and the company of like, hey, if we don't keep the game running for X amount of time, then you're going to get your money back, or we have some kind of exit strategy to preserve the game. There's lots of games that figure it out. You just have to figure it out when you're making the game. If you're doing it afterwards, oh, we had a live service game, now we got to keep it running forever. How are we going to do it? Well, you should have thought of that in the beginning. You should have thought about how you're going to be able to kind of pass this game off or grandfather that game off. You know, I'm not saying I want live service games to stay up and running forever. I don't expect that. But there has to be some kind of solution. There has to be some kind of middle ground. In most industries, there's something like consumer protection laws. And in video games, they're just all kinds of skewed and screwed. I don't know any other place where, hey, we sell you this product and then we can literally even tell you that you should destroy that physical product when we tell you. That doesn't make any sense to me. This whole dystopian video game future we're in just keeps getting kind of worse and worse by little steps. First, it's the digital games. Then it's you don't own them. You're just renting them. Now it's the physical copies don't come with all the data on them. So they're basically becoming paperweights. Now we can even tell you to go ahead and destroy those paperweights. You can't even collect them or keep them. What? Like I said, this is some kind of weird supervillain shit. It doesn't make any sense. And luckily we have some things like the Stop Killing Gabe movements. Consumers and gamers need some kind of better protection when it comes to this. There's no refunds, no recourse. Even physical versions often require online validation, which, like I said, is the problem we're now running into. So those games become literally obsolete. Basically, they're going behind like legal walls and hiding behind them, working their weird spells and magic. And then we're forced to just kind of stand back and wonder what's going to get lobbed over the wall at us next. It's basically theft with paperwork. They have the right paperwork attached to the theft that makes it legal. That's it. And we all agree to sign that paperwork or we don't get to play the game. Think about where all this is heading now that we're going to have a lot of AI involved and a lot of cloud gaming and a lot of things heading towards streaming. My PS Portal works beautifully, and that's streaming things off of my PlayStation. So what happens when things like Google Stadia become actually viable? What happens when the next Google Stadia that actually works well comes out and people actually start migrating over to cloud gaming? That's even more or less ownership. They don't want you to just have games. They don't want to just have your money. They want literal complete control. That is weird. I don't understand. There's no other product in the history of products, in the history of entertainment at least, where they say, here's this product, you can buy a physical copy. When we say so, you got to go ahead and destroy that. I'm pretty sure that's not the case with Blu-rays or DVDs or music CDs. You can't just buy a music CD and then they have the right to tell you, hey, at any time we can release some kind of weird disclaimer that says you have to go and break that CD you bought 10 years ago. There's no misunderstanding here, and I don't care if it's never happened. I don't care if they've never actually told anyone to go ahead and break a disc. It's what it says, and it's what we're agreeing to. And if it's something they're thinking about now, then it means it's something they're thinking about, which means maybe in the future it's something they're going to need to use. So imagine when having a physical copy of something becomes illegal. When you're a collector and you no longer are allowed to keep that game in your collection legally. I mean, at that point, does it become more collectible? Does it become worth more money? Are they going to just shoot themselves in the foot with this whole thing? I get everything is on a subscription model, and I get this is already started in movies, music, cars, farm equipment, fucking books, Kindle. Everything in your life is basically on a subscription model, and they kind of own the rights to it. I get that. But I've never seen something say that I have to destroy it if they say so. That's the part that's getting crazy to me. You know? This isn't just about Ubisoft. This is pretty much all large companies across the board. It's the entire video game industry. I don't know how you guys feel, but I paid for my games. I still have the discs. And if Ubisoft wants me to destroy them, they can come to my home and force me. Otherwise, the entirety of Ubisoft and every other company with one of these terms can go and kick rocks as far as I'm concerned. Basically, I guess in conclusion, what I'm saying is using things like GOG when you can, making backups of your own games, things like Stop Killing Games campaign, all of these are steps in the right direction, but they're baby steps in the grand scheme of things. It's going to be interesting to see where this all goes and to see what the state of the industry is like in a couple years. But, you know, I guess all we can do in the meantime is speculate and talk. So keep doing things you can do to kind of maintain ownership. And other than that, I'm not sure what else to do. Leave some comments down below, I guess, about how you guys feel about this. I appreciate you guys sticking around. If you want to yap about the video game industry, come follow me on Twitter or join the Discord. We always are yelling and screaming about this kind of nonsense in there. So I guess that's it. If you guys made it to the end of this, I appreciate you. I love you all. And that's it. I'm out.